Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. Very excited to get ready to talk about Sharefaith church apps and how those can really make a big difference in terms of your church outreach. Before we begin, for those of you who haven't attended any of our webinars before, my name is Zach Merritt. With me today helping me on the computer is Mr. Aaron Adachi. And if you haven't been to one of our webinars, just to kind of explain how it works, obviously, hopefully you guys can see and hear me all right on wherever you're at. And if you look to the, I believe it's the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a chat section available. So that way, if you guys have any questions at all or have any comments at all during the presentation, feel free to go in there and let us know just to make sure it's working. We always like to ask if anybody, if you guys don't mind putting in the city and state that you guys are coming from or what country you're viewing out of. Just lets us kind of see where everybody's at, lets other people see you guys. So you guys know that you're there and everybody can talk to each other. So also, I just wanted to let a little disclaimer, talking with our team and some of the stuff for everybody here who is a current Sharefaith member with a church app. I just want to let you guys know with the updates that we're doing to 2.0, those updates are rolling out. So you guys will start seeing those on your church apps. If you've done anything to modify your app within the App Studio where you've removed any content, I do recommend after this webinar going back in and adding it afterwards, just so that way there's no hiccups at all with getting your app updated to the App Store, as Apple still has the same content requirements that they did before. So just want to let you guys know about that. So if you're running into any issues at all with your app in particular, be sure to check out our support site and make a ticket with one of our team members who can follow up with you and check in to see what exactly is going on, if that's the case at all. But in the meantime, very excited to talk about these new updates and everything that's rolling out. And you're going to see a lot of these things coming very soon to your app since we are rolling the updates out now. And it just takes about 1 to 2 weeks for everything to go through with Apple and everybody's approval process. So as we begin, I want to just go ahead and explain to you guys really what the benefits are that come with the church mobile app, how it differentiates from your mobile website, different things that churches might face when they're trying to get an app of their own, and really what Sharefaith provides in terms of that, and showcase a lot of the new features that are coming out with Church App 2.0, which we're very excited about. So once again, we'll go ahead and get started here, and we'll go ahead and have Aaron switch things over so you guys can see. Aaron's getting things rolling for you guys. And if it's not showing, you can pull up the presentation, Aaron. Are we good? Is it showing? All right, so just to make sure everybody here can see the Church Apps 2 screen. There we go. All right. So once again, my name is Zach Merritt, and I just want to give you guys a little bit about myself here real quick. I serve in my local church as a youth pastor and Sunday school director. So I just want to let you guys know that. I also work in ministry and know where a lot of you guys are coming from in terms of kind of working with different outreach opportunities and how that fits in with your other ministry schedule and what you need to do. So I'm really excited because this is a solution that I feel is going to really free up your ability to minister and outreach for others. And I've worked here at Sharefaith for quite a while now, doing product outreach and training. So these webinars and things like that for you guys, so you guys get a better sense of how to use these resources and really use them to the fullest. So now, if you don't know who Sharefaith is, perhaps it's your first time getting to know us. Sharefaith is one of the leading providers for all sorts of different church resources out there. Not just mobile apps, but also we also do church websites, online giving. We do worship media resources, and even Sunday school curriculum now. So we really offer so many different things that we try to, just make sure that members of ours have everything they need in their toolkit to be able to minister and do outreach to the best of their ability. Now, before we get deep into the actual discussion of an app, I just want to outline a real basic church communication strategy and talk about essentially what churches are looking to accomplish when they're trying to communicate their message, the gospel message, and what they do in their mission and vision. So the first step typically in a basic strategy, of course, is outreach. Getting out there, making sure that word gets out there about your church, communicating with your community and anybody who you plan to minister to. So getting your presence known and people being able to find you. Now, the second part after that, other than just reaching out to somebody, is actually developing a connection with them. So this could be something where a visitor comes to your church and gets greeted, and somebody invites them to a Bible study, or somebody's able to step aside and pray for them or anything like that. Or even something where they have the ability to get plugged into a group somewhere and find information to do things like that. So connection, of course, is very important, because you don't want just visitors, but you want to bring in new members and help your church grow and help expand the kingdom. And then finally, on top of all of that, the last step is in the form of discipleship. So once they know who you are, once they get plugged in, the idea is to help them grow spiritually so that they can come to have a real personal saving relationship with Jesus. So again, this is just a basic outline, but essentially your end goal is discipleship and bringing people up in their walk with the Lord. Now, the reason I bring all these things up is because you want to make sure that you have tools at your disposal that actually help you with each of these different steps. So, not just doing one of these things right, but all three of them. So that's where I feel church apps are going to be a very, very strong ally to have with you in being able to communicate through each of these different processes. And we'll talk more about that and how that works in a bit. So on to not just the communication strategy, but also the ways that we communicate today. Now, so much communication is done electronically. Over the web, we have different examples here that I have for you. Doing things like, having a website, search engines coming across. So if somebody goes to Google or any of those places and wants to find churches in their area, making sure that they can find you guys, that is growing and growing as a form of people finding and connecting with churches. Also, of course, email is a great way to stay connected. A lot of people nowadays are doing so much with texting, messaging, video calling, and then, of course, social media is also a growing platform that churches are getting more involved in, and having a social media presence is important. But, as you can see here, just this little transition I have, what I want to point out is that more and more of this is being done through a mobile platform. In fact, today, mobile usage has overtaken standard desktop and PC usage. It happened even as recently as 2 years ago. Back in 2014, they showed that the trend was going that online users were doing more of their online browsing and different things like that through a mobile device. So with all this in mind, I just want to point out some differences in the way that communication takes place between a mobile website and a mobile app, because I know that there can be confusion sometimes in how those two are different. So first of all, I want to point out the communication style. Now, a website is much more of a reactive communicator, meaning that the user has to initiate the interaction with it. So whether that's through a search engine or a link that they found, or maybe they saw your website on your bulletin and typed it in, whatever that might look like. So there's different ways that people can come across and be able to find the website. So the websites need to have content that not only pertains to your churchgoers, but potential newcomers as well. Now, as for a mobile app, it's a much more proactive communicator with different ways that it can actually notify users when content's available, and it can actively communicate with them much more effectively. And this is also nice because it can contain specific information that it pertains more to the interests of your members. So for example, if you have a church member who just wants to go online and make sure that they don't forget to do their tithe, they can hop onto your mobile app much faster and be able to go straight to the giving section to be able to do that. Or perhaps they just want to go and listen to last week's sermon for a recap, or if they missed it for any reason, then they can simply open up your app and be able to pull that up. And we'll kind of show some of the interface and what that looks like here in a little while. So just a summary of the difference here between apps and websites, just so again, there's no confusion in this area. With mobile apps, you're talking about a much more active engagement. So you're talking about an active communication with push notifications and alerts that come through and let them know every time that new content is available. Whereas a mobile site is a more passive engager. It's kind of a silent spokesperson, if you will, for people to come and view information on your website. Now, more time is typically spent on a mobile app. So this is something that's very interesting, because if you think of, if you want people to be able to engage with your church more and be able to actually read the information that you're posting online, if you put it on your app, statistics show that they're 18 times more of our time is spent through mobile apps than it is through our web browser. So that just means that your website would be running through the web browser. However, if they have an app, they're much more likely to engage and stay engaged with the content that you have. Websites can be more informative. So an app might be more specific to the interest that people are going to it for, whereas a website is kind of an all-purposes communication, an online HQ, if you will, where people can come across it, especially when they're first trying to learn about your church, and they can come there to find more information about it before they decide to even step inside. Now, as I was kind of talking about the different forms of different stages of communication strategy for churches, I would say that a mobile app is going to be much more effective as a discipleship tool than a church website would be. And the reason I say that, again, comes back to the content that's found on it. So if you want people to be engaged and stay engaged with the information that you have online, your mobile app is going to be a much more useful vessel for getting that information to them. So this is great for doing things like blogs, devotionals, of course, as I mentioned, sermon playback, online giving, different things that members who are more actively engaged will be much more interested in. And then, whereas your website, as I mentioned, is more like a silent spokesperson for your church. It's a outreach tool, and so that way when people are searching online for churches in their area, your website is in many ways kind of an ambassador that works for you to convince people to come through the doors on Sunday. So you can kind of think of it in that aspect and understand some of the real key differences in how you utilize both those features. Now, there is certainly a lot that they both will share, and I'll talk a little bit about how that is actually a good thing in the case of the Sharefaith Church app. But first, we've talked about apps and we've kind of understood more about why they're such useful tools, but let's talk about why more churches don't already have them. So first of all, you can kind of see what I've got laid out here is what I've labeled mobile app mountains. Essentially these things that are obstacles in our way when we're looking to utilize any platform. So with mobile apps, it's the same. And of course, the first thing a lot of people will bring up is ease of use. How simple is this to work with? Next, they might be looking at the time that's involved. And again, I mean, I'm a ministry leader as well, and I understand that time is valuable. There are certain things that we want to do to disciple and grow and to nurture the believers that we have been given to be able to mentor in some way. So our time is valuable. And also, of course, you know, even though we may not like to talk about this one as much, but price is important. What are we actually looking at expenditure-wise and knowing what we're going to have to budget in order to have a mobile app? So let's talk a little bit about each of these in detail, just to understand what we're looking at. Because if you haven't researched mobile apps before, or if you haven't had experience with one, you may not necessarily realize what can be involved. Well, first of all, let's look at ease of use. When we're talking about apps, I mean, it's a software, it's development. There is a need for somebody who has a knack for programming knowledge, for coding, who can do these kinds of things for you. Now, you guys are looking at a service that can provide this for you, of course, so you're probably not necessarily concerned with having somebody on board on your team that can do all of this, do coding and development and things like that. But when something's being developed for a mobile app, you have to remember too, there's also different platforms and versions of the software that are going to be more popular. Right now, iOS, which is like your iPhones and iPads and things like that, the Apple products, and Android are the two main platforms that are used for smart devices. There are others out there, but both of these combined make up well over 80% of all the smartphones available. So you have to keep in mind that you really want to make sure that you have something for both these platforms. And they're about neck and neck with how much of that 80%, 80+% that they control. So having something that works for both is essential. So the only thing with that is if you're looking at having a developer do it, some developers may only have a knack for one specific platform. So it's good to have that in mind when you're looking somewhere. Now, aside from the ease of use, also talking about time involved. Who's going to be responsible to maintain this thing, and how much time is it going to take them? I know a lot of you folks who are joining us today, some of you may be administrative staff that's on hand that can be given certain time and priority to do these kinds of things. Other people are going to be volunteers, and a lot of times it's going to be the pastor or another ministry leader who kind of gets pulled aside and brought into this to take care of this thing. So, you know, that's important to keep in mind too. How much time is this going to take for you? How difficult is it going to be? Is there going to be a massive learning curve? So anything that you can find to help alleviate that stress, of course, is something that opens up your ability to minister and do the things that God has called you to do and that you really want to put your focus on rather than having to update software all the time. But having something so that it's going to be quick and easy to work with, of course, is definitely going to be integral for that ability. And then, as I mentioned, as a last one, the elephant in the room, again, that nobody likes to talk about, is how much are we looking at cost-wise for all of this? So when we're looking at cost, there's lots of different factors that actually come into a mobile app's cost. And these are things with any company that you're looking at to make sure that you understand really what you're getting into before you make that commitment. First of all, most companies, you're looking at startup costs, and these tend to be pretty hefty fees. Sometimes they're not too bad in the form of just a few $100s. Other times they can be thousands of dollars. So researching that and understanding what you're getting before you get into the startup costs is a very important thing. On top of the startup costs, you may have additional costs that come in play for each of the different features that you want. Things like push notifications, sermon playback, if you want to have any type of feed for your posts, those things can add up quickly when you're looking to add them. And I've heard all kinds of different numbers all over the place. Again, sometimes this can be a few $100s. Other times it can easily make it into the thousands for you that way. And then on top of that, these are just like websites in this fact that the information that's on your app is hosted through a server somewhere. This means that there's a monthly hosting fee that you have to pay, just like a website, to be able to keep it online. So this is another cost that comes in and has to be factored in when you're looking at a mobile app. And then lastly, there can oftentimes be, especially when you're, if you're doing anything with Apple, there's an annual developer license fee they have to pay, which is about another $100 or so on top of that, which is every year. So these are all different costs that most companies will charge you for. Now, I hope I'm not being too discouraging or being a downer on right now, and because I want to explain some of the amazing things with Sharefaith Church Apps. Sharefaith has come up with a whole new way of offering a church mobile app to users in a way that is really, in my opinion, and from what I've seen out there, one of the most cost-effective and easy to use formats. Not only is it simple, so you don't have to have any background with these kinds of things. You don't need to know any coding, but it's also fully customizable. So you can put in your own information. You can brand it with your own logo and imagery. It synchronizes with your website, which saves you so much time. So that way, when you add new content to your site, if it's content that also appears in your app or is supposed to, then they will talk to each other. So you only have to do the work once and publish to both at the same time. So it's the two birds with one stone mentality. And then also it's cost effective, and we'll get into that here. For those of you who are not already Sharefaith Complete members, you simply have to have a complete membership and you get the Sharefaith Church app on top of all of Sharefaith's other amazing resources. So let's talk a little bit about Church App specifically though, and I want to show you guys some example screenshots here, and then after this I'm going to go ahead and have it turn over to Aaron when we're done with this section, so you guys can really see what the App Studio looks like and how intuitive the system really is. So first of all, as I mentioned with a church app earlier, there is the ability for push notifications. This is easily one of the most powerful features of a church app. Again, think about it. Your app has a place on someone's device. I mean, the typical time that somebody spends on a phone, they've averaged about 3 hours a day. So that's prime real estate to have something where you can easily communicate with someone so easily from anywhere. Now, push notifications and alerts are things that can come up automatically, so whenever you add new content, such as a new post, a new sermon, you can even create your own custom messages and reminders that you send out through there, and it just alerts someone so it blinks on their lock screen, so even if their phone is in their pocket, they feel it go off and look, and they can see that your church has a message for them or has new content available through the app. And at that point, they can look at it right away. Now, something that's really cool, and you'll see in the App Studio, is we've actually included a new feature for an inbox. So whereas before it was only that you would see the notification, it would go away, and you just go into the app, now we have a system in place so that way all of the previous notifications will be archived. So if something ever happens where perhaps someone's device doesn't show them the whole message for any reason, or if they miss it and they accidentally take it away too quickly, then you'll have a system in place there where they can go right to your app and be able to read the messages. So if you have an important reminder or an announcement for them at all, that comes through and they're able to get a hold of it. Now, in addition to push notifications, as I've said, the App Studio is one of the most intuitive systems out there for building and maintaining your app. We'll get into that here so you'll get a real full tour and rundown of that in just a few minutes. And then, in addition to the App Studio, there is sermon audio playback availability. So all of these features are included with the church app at no extra cost to you. As I mentioned, some companies will charge extra for that. we're not one of those companies. So you get to see all the different things that are available to you through sermon audio playback. You have the ability to stream sermons, so if you just want to listen to them online, or you can even make it available so that folks can download it and be able to listen to it offline. This is really neat for people who are perhaps traveling and unable to make it to your last service for any reason. When it's available, they can just download it or stream through it through the app and be able to catch up on it. Or if they miss anything from a sermon series that you've done, they're able to do that. Or even just a recap. Perhaps they'd like to listen to it again and get some of the points. The other neat thing is that we've included options, just like on the website, where you can include notes files, like a PDF, for example, or perhaps a PowerPoint presentation that goes with it. And they can download that as well and be able to play it if their device has an app that'll do that. And then you can also have a link to a YouTube or a Vimeo video. So if you have a video recording of the service, then you can include that as well, and somebody can pull it right up through their app and be able to stream it on their device if they have an internet connection. So there's lots of cool things that it just kind of puts right at their fingertips, very easy for them to get into and use and be able to follow up on at any time. And if they download it, it all gets archived right onto the app itself, so they can always go back in there. And that little microphone icon you see at the top right corner of the screenshot that I've got there, that's where they would go to be able to access their downloaded sermons. And they can remove them at any time later if they want to as well. Now, in addition to sermon audio playback and many of the other features, this is one of my personal favorite features that we're going to be improving and introducing here with 2.0 as it's getting rolled out. Now, in talking about sharing encouragement, which is the point I've got here, of course, you have the ability to do a blog or a devotional, so sharing thoughts or sharing different insights from Scripture with your members. But also, we're now including a built-in Bible reader. And of course, you might say, there's so many different ones out there. People might already have one. That's true. But now your app can have one as well that can access, and it's seriously one of the most beautiful Bible readers I've seen on here. And you can see some of the screenshots here. Unfortunately, I don't have a live demo yet to be able to showcase you guys, but you'll see it when your app gets updated. By adding the Bible section in, your users will be able to pull up the app and be able to hop in, and it has all of the amazing features that they are looking for in a Bible app. Very different translations that they can choose from within the menu, and you can see they even have control over the text and different things to be able to really make sure that it's more suited to what they're wanting to have for their reader. So I'm really excited about that, and it's a great thing to have your church have its own Bible reader on it, and that could open the doors for other things down the future. So we're excited to see what comes up with that. Now, also, this is a really neat thing about the app, and this is great for especially newcomers who might hear about your app and want to, kind of have just a quick directions to your church. They can tap on a location section and be able to pull up their default map app, which will take them directly to your church's address that you have listed in it. So that's just a quick, convenient thing that I like, that feature that's available in there. And then last but certainly not least, it's a great way to simplify giving. So I mentioned that before for your members who just want to be able to have quick access to something. You can insert the link to your giving page or giving form, whatever you have there, and then when they open it up through the app, then they can just simply type in their donation or tithe and be able to submit it right then and there. Takes them just a few seconds to do. So there's so much here within the app that just simplifies and makes things more convenient and makes it much more likely that you're going to see engagement online, and it's going to make it easier for them to be able to do so through your app. Your website is a great tool, of course, but this is really something you're going to see a lot more active engagement come through and have a much higher chance of interacting with your members through. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Aaron, who's going to have the App Studio here for us. So he's going to pull that up. So I'm just going to go through and give you guys a quick tour while Aaron's navigating. So what you can see is this is very similar. So if you are a Sharefaith member already and you've used the Church App Builder before, you'll see we've done a lot to try and keep as much of it the same as possible, so it's not confusing at all. But we've simplified a lot and kind of separated some things into different areas so that way you guys can more easily navigate through here. Now the first section is the setup. Now as you can see, this is where you would provide a title for your app, your icon title, So the name of your app is, of course, what will display in the store when somebody goes to download it. The icon title is what will actually display on their device when they download it. And then the keywords are just things to help them search and find your church. So you have full freedom to put in wherever you need to as far as what will simplify things for your users. And the description, of course, is just to describe what your app is for and what it does for your church so they understand when they download it what they're getting into. Now, down here, we also have icons. So the main thing I want to point out is that you have the ability to actually upload your own icon images. And the system is very intuitive. With the new update, we've actually made it to where before you had to be a lot more specific in a lot of things in terms of your size. The system now actually has an editor in place. So if you were to upload an image that's not the right dimensions, it'll help you scale and crop that to make sure it fits for the required needs, which I know a lot of people are going to be very happy about, because we did hear some people who had trouble doing that themselves ahead of time. So this is going to be something that's going to definitely simplify life for a lot of people. And these can be changed at any time. Anything here that you see in the setup section, these are things that will update whenever we roll out new updates, and we do that at least once a month for our users. So you'll have the update done at least once a month for you. Now, before we get into the content section, we're not going to get in there quite yet. It's just so nobody's panicking if they think that it's only going to be updated once a month there. Anytime you add new content like a sermon or a blog post or anything like that to your app, that will show up right away within just a few minutes from the time that you post it. So you'll see that change rather quickly. But here in the setup section, these are areas you're not going to change very often. And if you do, then we will automatically update those for you. So there's really no stress or worry on your part. Simply update it whenever you want to, and we will update those changes when we do our monthly updates. So as you can see, there's icons. The launch images here are what display kind of as a screenshot that appears before they open the app. So when they actually tap on it to open, it's kind of like a loading screen, if you will, that just displays for a quick second and then goes into the app itself. So it can be something, again, just another opportunity for you to brand the app and customize it and just have your church logo or anything like that as part of the image. And then finally, down below, you have the screenshot section. Now, Aaron, if you don't mind showing them where the phone and tablet icon is there above the preview. So you can see you have the ability to switch back and forth between phone and tablet. So it's nice because that's also another feature you don't always get with everybody, is the fact that we make versions that work for both phone and tablet devices. So no matter what device they're viewing it on, they'll be able to download the app and use it. And this just allows you to switch back and forth so you can preview it. Now, the other nice thing is you can take a screenshot, as the button down there states. And what the screenshot is for is so that when people come to the store to download your app, they can see what it looks like inside before they do it. Just so, again, this is a requirement by the stores to have something like this. So you anywhere from 3 to 5 for each device preview. And then all you have to do, though, is click that button and it will add it to the list. And then once you have all the ones that you want, of course, that one's full right now. But once you have all the ones that you want, then you can go ahead and just save it, and it will publish those to the App Store next time it updates. Now, if you ever want to remove a screenshot, Aaron, if you hover over any of the existing ones, you'll see a little X icon. And we won't delete it right now. But you can simply click that. It will remove it from the list. So if you have a screenshot that's out of date, or if you want to replace it, you can do so at any time. And then finally, down there at the bottom, you see the publish section. So this app is not published to the App Store, which allows us to have this button right here. Once that's done and we've got it submitted, so it's going through the approval process, that will go away, so you don't have to worry about it anymore, and we will automatically get it taken care of for you from there. Now, so that's the setup section, and you'll see another tab right below setup there at the top right that says design. Now, if Aaron switches over to this is a new area that we've added. The theme color is here. So that's the little strip that goes across the top. If he picks a different color, you can see it changes it there. There's 6 different colors to choose from currently. And so you can change any of those at any time. And again, this section, the changes are immediate. So within just a few minutes, the next time somebody goes in and updates their app, when they look at it, which it'll tell them on the screen when they do, then it'll actually go through and apply changes like this to their app. Now, this is by far one of the coolest things that we've introduced with 2.0. If you look down below, you see all these images here that Aaron's showing you. So these are stock images that we've incorporated. So it's a massive library. There's thousands of images in here. And you can click on any of these and drag them into areas like your post section, your sermon section, in different places that use images in your app. So this is just a way, like, you don't have to even worry necessarily about having your own images for everything to make your app look good. Aaron can grab any of those images and drag them over, say, the How to Start a Women's Bible Study. And if he lets it go, then boom, it automatically changes it, and you can see that change in real time. So when he applies his changes, then it'll actually take and reflect those on the app itself as well. So that's just super convenient, and you can go in and search for anything too. So if you're looking for a specific type of image, like Aaron could type in food, and it'll come up with things specifically related to food. And so then he can go in and grab anything like that. So if there's, if you guys are announcing a potluck or a big feast or dinner or something, you can see what's out there and be able to pull it in. Now, likewise, you can still use your own images too. If Aaron just clicks on any of those sections, like the one that like that one, then it pulls up an option where he can actually insert an image directly from here. And I don't have one on file right there, but this just shows you can also use your own images. So if you have images from your church or maybe something else that you've downloaded already that you would like to use instead, feel free, just grab whatever you want and put it in there, and just make sure it's nothing weird. But of course, we're trusting you guys. So now over in the sections, so you guys get to see that a little bit more clearly. Aaron, if you go over to the other side, we've moved the sections like your blog and everything over here, so it has its own little control panel. And you'll see the inbox is a new one that's added. That's towards the bottom there. So that's where, as I mentioned earlier, push notifications and things like that will be archived, so you can see them from within there. And you'll also notice these little icons here to the side: edit, visibility, remove. Now, certain ones can't be removed. Inbox and more, those are special ones that are glued into the app, you could say. So those won't be removable. But if for any reason you want to change out any of these, again, as I was kind of mentioning before, I do not recommend deleting entire sections of content unless you are replacing it, just to make sure that you don't have any problems with your app updating in the future, because Apple is very stingy on wanting to make sure you have real content before they approve it. So just having a bunch of links or something like that won't work. That's just a little public service announcement for you guys, so nobody goes in there and accidentally goofs anything up with that. But Aaron, go ahead and click on the blog section so we can expand that and see what that looks like. So I just want to show you guys, so for the most part, it's pretty similar. However, you'll notice we've introduced some new layout options. So there's different ways that you can have thumbnails. Like if he clicks on this one with the 4 squares, so it actually turns things into thumbnails. This looks a little bit closer to what we had for the original sermon playlist option. And then the middle one there is what we were just looking at, where it's kind of more of image banners that go across and are more seamless. And then also we have this option, which is closer to the original blog post design, where you have an image to one side and you have the text to the other that includes content from the blog and things like that. So again, like the fact that everything scales and resizes for you, so you don't have to do too much work with image editing anymore. We've simplified that process a lot. Now, down below, there's where the categories are. So for those who aren't familiar with the church apps, one of the areas that it does is it actually pulls in blog posts from new categories. So you can create categories when you're creating a post, and whatever categories you tell the app to look for, anytime a new post is added to it, then it will automatically pull that post into the app. It's a very simple process, actually. So every time you add a new post in there, it automatically goes to the app. So this is, again, an area where you just do your work on your site, and then it will automatically update to the app for you. And it just makes things seamless. So it halves the time that you're going to need to do, because if it's something you want on both platforms, you only need to put it up one time, and then both will look for it. And you can always come back in here and change the categories. You can even tell it to pull from every category if you want to have one main blog area. But you have the freedom to do something like that, and you can create different ones too. Here's another way that you could use this. So for example, let's say you want to have a specific spot in your app that talks about your ministries. Well, you can create a category for your ministries and just create blog posts for each ministry. Then you can pull it into your app, so each one has its own post. Again, your people who are using this aren't necessarily being too concerned with the fact that it's a blog post. They don't know. But you have the ability to kind of have individually labeled ministries, and you can even include logos or images that refer to them. So there's different things that you can do. And if you have questions about that at all, check with our support team, and they can kind of give you some pointers there. But that's a great way to also utilize different areas of the app. But the nice thing is with a blog or anything like that, it's dynamic content. Anytime you add a new post into your app, then push notification goes through to alert your users and let them know about it. So they'll be able to see like, hey, a new devotional is available, or hey, the pastor just wrote a new blog for a journal or something. Or if like a new sermon comes in, they'll be able to see that. So now if you go down to messages, Aaron, the next section there. So this is the sermons area. And the way this works, it's very similar to posts and how it formats. You can see there's a couple different layouts you can choose from there. But basically, you can have different playlists on your site, and you can choose from any of the playlists you have on your website, such as a series playlist, or if you have one that has only sermons from a specific preacher at your church, or maybe you just have something that just includes all of your sermons. So however you have that, it'll pull that information from your site, and you can tell it which ones to look for, and it will include those in the app as well. Again, whenever a new sermon is added to your site, it will automatically go into the app as long as it's part of what the app is looking for. And then your users will be able to see that right away. So it's very seamless. The newsletter section is a specific area, and this one looks for, this is essentially very similar to the blog, and we've actually opened this up to where you can now have it as a separate blog area, so you have freedom over different categories to choose from. So you can have as many of these as you want. And real quick, Aaron, if you want to go down to the add button, and that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be excited about, I know. Some people were concerned with wanting more areas in their, more sections in their app. So now we've opened it up, and really you have freedom to add as many of whichever of these sections as you'd like to. So if you want to have multiple different, say you want multiple different sermon sections, so like you can have it separated out even more. If you want to say sermons by Pastor Jeff and sermons by Pastor John, or however, then you have the freedom to do something like that. And you can retitle any of these, as Aaron's showing us here in the screen. So you can name these whatever you like. Very nice. And then you can choose a layout and what messages you want to show up in there, so he can just pick the categories that he wants to pull in and save it, and it will automatically pull that all in for it. And again, this is so cool because then, within a few minutes, people will see all this stuff. Now, if you go to add, Aaron, another thing I want to point out, now there's a link section that we've added, which is really neat, because if there is something that per se doesn't necessarily format to your app, but maybe it's on your mobile website, or maybe it's to a completely different website that you just want to have a link to from your app, if it's a ministry you support or a missionary or anything like that. You can include a link, and it can link to any page that you want. So you have freedom there, and you can title it whatever you want and everything. Now, some people might notice that the give section works very similarly. It's very important to recognize the distinction. When you use the give section, you have to make sure it is going to a giving link. And the reason I bring that up is simply because when you're titling it, we're going to make sure that it says something along the lines of online giving or donate or something like that. Because especially like with Google and the Google Play and Android users, we have to make sure it's clear so they understand that this is for an online giving donation section, and they don't mistake it as you using something that shouldn't be there. So we just wanted to make sure that you understand the distinction and you use those properly for that. So that's just another announcement so you guys are aware. And if there's any of this that I'm saying that you guys are wanting to make sure you relay later, make sure to check in with us. We'll send a copy of this webinar. You'll get a recording of it afterwards, so you will be able to recap on anything you need. And we will also make sure you can contact our support team and be able to get any further questions about that asked. We're going to have some time here at the end where you guys can ask some more questions, and I can answer as many questions as I can for you here before our time is up. And how are we looking right now, Aaron? What time is it? 30, perfect. So we're doing great. So here for, so again, just going through the App Studio here, and then also, Aaron, if you don't mind showing them the Bible section, just so they see what that looks like to add that in. It's very easy. There's really not much to it. You can choose any of the different translations that are available to offer. And so you can specify which ones you would like to use with your church. And if you only want to have one, or you can have all of them, or whatever you want to choose, and then add that in. And that's just another area that people can access that way. So, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. Check boxes, drag and drop functionality. Oh, if you want to rearrange the menu, Aaron can show you, you can just drag click on any of those icons and drag and drop it however you want. And that way it will just display in the order that you want the menu to look in. So we try to keep it as flexible as possible. Now, one thing I want to point out, the effectiveness of that visibility icon. This is something that I think a lot of people will find useful. Let's say you plan to add online giving to your app, but you don't yet have a page or form or anything like that set up for it. If you were to click the eye so that it shows a little cross through it, and that means that it's going to be invisible. Now, the reason you might use that is because if you want your sections to appear in the app, those have to be added when the next update goes through. But let's say you want the section to be in there and you want to have the ability to make it live at any time. If you add it in and simply make it invisible, you'll have the freedom to have it appear without people being able to see it or access it yet. But you can still turn it on at any point without any delay. So that's just a way to make sure that if there's anything you're looking to add down the road that are not ready to yet, you can simply hide it for the time being. And then that way, when you're ready for it to go live, you can simply do so and it will appear, right away, versus having to wait for us to come and do an update to pull any new sections that you've added later. So that's just a convenient feature there for you guys, so you know how that works. So the App Studio, essentially you can see from everything here, once you've got the app up and running too, it's going to be very easy to maintain. As I said, you simply add content to your website, and as you do so, the app will automatically pull in the stuff that it's looking for too. Last but not least, up in the top next to sections, you see the push notifications. So we've talked about notifications that come from your app automatically, the ones that actually say, like if a new sermon's added or a new devotion. This is where you can do custom notifications. So you can type whatever kind of message you want in the box. Now this is great for when you want to have a reminder go out to everybody, or an announcement of any kind that you want to make sure your app users are aware of, or perhaps even a prayer request, or you can even link to something. So like, let's say you're doing a church fundraiser or event and you want to make sure that people have quick access. You can say like, hey, don't forget about the upcoming dinner that we're doing. Make sure to submit your registration so we have your plate and everything ready. So things like that you can include in there, and you can put a link like he was showing right there. So that way if they tap on the notification, it will then immediately throw them to the link that you want. Now, if you don't do that, that's fine. You don't have to have a link to anything. It can just be a simple message. And again, as I was saying, the new inbox system will keep those messages on hand, so people can always go back, and if they miss it for any reason, or if they don't get to see the whole thing due to their device constraints or anything like that, then they can go in there and be able to pull the whole thing up and see what you were trying to tell them about. So that's, as I said, one of the most powerful features of the mobile app, and having that ability to be in your users' pockets and be able to communicate with them. So that's essentially a rundown of the App Studio. I'm going to see. I wanted to go back to what I was showing you guys before in our presentation. So let me skip ahead here. So now, as I was saying with the church apps, if you have any questions at all while you're working on this, so any members who are curious to learn more about this, or if they are looking to, if they're running into any particular questions with their app in general, just want to let you guys know we have seriously one of the best support teams out there, and I know a lot of people here have probably worked with them too, so you guys can, whether you submit a ticket in, if you need to get into a more in-depth conversation and discuss things over the phone, you can actually submit a request for an appointment so that one of our guys can actually give you a call at a time that's convenient for you. So if you have anything that's a lot more involved that you are going to need some assistance with, just want to let you guys know we are here for you. We're here Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that way, you guys can check in with us morning or evening most days and be able to get support right away. And we always make sure that we're getting back to people. So if you submit a ticket, within 24 hours, you'll be hearing back from us. So, I know the guys, I talk with them all the time, and they're great guys, and they just love what they do, and they love helping churches and being a part of, helping you guys to do your ministry in some way or another. So if you guys have any further questions, definitely feel free to check in with them on that. As I said, if you guys have questions today, I will do my best to answer those for you, and I'll kind of help moderate a lot of that so we can see if there's anything in particular I can help you with. But if you got anything that's specific to your app or your account or anything like that, definitely check in with our team so they can investigate that stuff more in detail with you and be able to work on that. Now, I just wanted to mention, again, this is something that comes with our complete package and show you guys everything that does come with the complete membership with Sharefaith. As I was mentioning before, not only do we do mobile apps, but you can see all the different resources that become available to you here. You get a church mobile app, a church website, worship media. Right now, there's over 70,000 worship graphics and videos and things of that nature in our library, and it grows every week. We are always adding new content. So there's always fresh stuff for you guys to choose from. We have an amazing Sunday school resource, and we just updated that too to Sharefaith Kids 2.0, and definitely check that out if you guys haven't seen that yet. I know our church is using it, and we love it. There's so many great things there to be able to teach your kids and help them grow spiritually as well. We offer an online giving service, Sharefaith Giving, so you guys can check into that, and that is included with a Sharefaith membership. So there's no cost to sign up or be enrolled in that, and we have very competitive transaction rates, so be sure to check into that if you don't know, if you haven't seen that yet. And then worship presentation, we actually have very interesting but very awesome presentation software that integrates right into PowerPoint. So it's very easy to work with. It's called Sharefaith Presenter. And if you guys haven't checked that out yet, that also comes with your account with any membership that you have. So you can download that and be able to access our resources on the fly and be able to integrate lyrics and everything with click of a button. Super easy. And as I mentioned, you also get support and web migration. So if you guys are complete members and you have an existing site that you're looking to replace and get a new Sharefaith site up and running, definitely let us know, and we can actually get that rolling for you and get that site built and ready to go so you can just go in. It's like a turnkey solution, if you will. We just give you the keys so you can hop in and be able to edit and customize your site further from there after we get everything moved over for you. So it's a very awesome process, and it's much quicker for a lot of people than doing it themselves or having to have some other party come in and try to do that as well. And just a little thing down there, quantity without sacrifice to quality. So, honestly, everything we do, we're always looking to improve, stay ahead of the game, and be cutting edge in terms of all the different resources we offer. So you never have to worry about, being left behind essentially in what can be done with mobile apps, with websites, with Sunday school, with any of that stuff. We're always making sure that everything is pushed to the limits and you guys are getting the best of the best out there. So I have a question here for the people joining us today. And this is something you can just I'm just asking, but you can kind of answer to yourself, is essentially what brings you here today? So I know some people are going to be ministry leaders who are looking to, get technology more incorporated into their church and be able to use more options for communicating and an awesome resource. And other people are going to be members already, which is fantastic. And we love you guys because without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And we're so blessed to be able to do stuff that actually helps you guys out. But so you might be Sharefaith members already who are really looking to see how you can use your church app to the best of its ability, or even get started with getting it out there. Or maybe you're what I call the wild card. You're just somebody who maybe isn't a member or isn't necessarily doing all of this on your own, but you're just kind of curious about that and researching it to see what the Sharefaith church app does and what a church app offers to your ministry. So whatever the situation is, I just want you to know, this is an amazing communication platform that will really make a big impact on what you guys are capable of with reaching out to people and being able to stay in communication with your congregation. So also, this is just something for those of you guys who haven't worked with us before, who maybe are still learning more about Sharefaith and are considering the idea of being a part of Sharefaith. I just wanted to let you guys know this is our mission, our mandate, and motivation. Everything we do for the Lord. We want to make sure that the resources that we offer are there for you guys to help you expand your outreach, proclaim Jesus as Lord, King, and Savior. It's all about spreading the gospel, and the things that we're doing are just trying to give you resources to help with that. Anything, whether it's a website or a mobile app, whether it's media at your church that people can see when they come through, whatever that resource might be, that everything is done so that way it glorifies the Lord and helps bring people to know Jesus. And you guys might also like to know, we are a company that gives back, and we partner in sponsoring these ministries. So many of you are probably familiar with Compassion International, and it's a resource, or sorry, it's a ministry that specifically reaches out to impoverished children in impoverished nations and helping sponsor them. And so Sharefaith is a big sponsor of Compassion International and helping with that. And also the A21 campaign, which is a ministry designed to ending the sex traffic and slave trade that's going on in the world today, and ministering to the people who are victims of that, to be able to help them also hear the gospel and understand it. So, everything that we are trying to pour back into is also ministry related, and that's really where our heart is as a company. So lastly, I'll just throw this up here so you guys have contact information for us. So if there's anything that you guys need after we're done with the webinar, I'll go ahead and take some time to answer questions for you guys if there's anything that is coming up that Aaron's seeing on the screen. But I just want you guys to know how you can get a hold of us. So if there is anything else further, or you have some more deeper questions that you'd like to get answered today and spend some time with one of us, definitely here's how you can reach us so we can make sure to take care of this for you. But Aaron, is there anything that folks are talking about that we'd like to discuss with them right now?
There's a question on the availability of the church app. If it's just for complete yearly, or can they access the church app with other?
So the church, yeah. So a great question. So Aaron says that someone on there is asking about essentially what plans include the church app. So if you are a complete monthly member or a complete yearly member, either of those plans have access to church app. Now, beforehand, if you have a plan that included the app before, that if there were any changes that doesn't have it anymore or anything like that, you are still grandfathered in on the plan that you had, so you are not going to lose access to your app or anything like that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so for anybody who's signing on today, you can do complete monthly or complete yearly, which, I mean, if you look and see everything that comes with it, not only would you be upgrading to, I mean, it comes with everything. So you're getting the websites package, which is normally $4.92 a year, $41 a month when you break it down. And you're getting the kids package, which is the same price. And all of that's getting bundled in at an amazing rate of only $8.52 a year. It's same as $71 a month. I mean, when you do the math on that, that's like less than what people pay for cable these days. But you look at something like that and you get website, mobile app, Sharefaith, Sunday school curriculum through Sharefaith Kids, over 70,000 worship resources, presentation software, website migration service if you need. All of that stuff comes bundled together with that. So it's an amazing package. And I know a lot of times people have, I've been on the phone with folks before in the past and talked with them and breaking things down and had a lot of people just go like, seriously, like how do you guys do this? Because if you were to look at a standard mobile app provider and really break their costs down and look at how they compare, I mean, almost all of them cost more than the complete plan alone just for their services. And few are under that price, but it's a huge difference in what you are receiving as far as between those things. So all stuff to keep in mind when you're looking for sure.
Next question is from Laura, asking about the availability of linking a calendar in the app.
So if that's something that and a calendar is something too we've talked about before and could definitely have something native down the road, but that's the beauty of the new link ability. So you can actually include a link to a page on your site or to a calendar directly and have people access it that way. So that's one way to utilize something like that. So if it's not something that's a native feature in the app, you could embed a calendar or get a link directly to a calendar that you use and then have the app go straight to that page so that people can access the calendar that way. And most calendar service providers that I've looked at nowadays do offer responsive designs too. So even if they're coming through on a phone, they should still be able to see everything without any issues.
There's a question from Bob asking if content can be limited to specific users.
There's so the app is going to be essentially like a free download. Anybody with an Android or iOS device will be able to access it. There isn't a way for it to pinpoint and say people with this kind of thing can only access these areas. You could do something where you have perhaps an area like that on your website and then link to it from the app, kind of like how I was just explaining with the calendar. So that way somebody can at least have a quick way to access those things, and then they can get to a page that then perhaps has a password requirement, or if you use like a members plugin on your site or something where they have to provide their information to get in, that could be a way to do something like that at least.
Shua Main is asking if there's a possibility of having a sermon playback in the app only without having it on your website.
The app and the website talk to each other. So the question was whether you can play a sermon only on your app and not on your website. You don't necessarily have the ability to make it to where one can only play on one format. However, what you could do, this is kind of another idea, you could create a page on your site that has the sermon like on a playlist by itself. And the page doesn't have to be linked to anything. It doesn't have to be in your menu. It doesn't have to be linked from anywhere. It could be hidden. As long as it's on your website somewhere, the app will find it. So then you can create a hidden page through the additional pages section, which you can find out more about through the website, and then simply put the playlist on there. That way there's no direct path for anybody to come across it and be able to access it on the website, but then the app could still pull in that sermon and be able to use it. So that would be the recommendation I would have for doing that.
There's a question from Ryan asking if stock images can be used for the welcome screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, the stock images for the welcome screen, you would have to probably download the stock images first, or save them onto your website's library. But yeah, you could definitely download the stock images from the library. They're they're royalty free, free to use. So feel free to grab them and then be able to, if you want to do any modification to them, like add your logo or things like that, that would need to be done like in Photoshop or some other photo editing tool. And then you can just put it back onto your site and use it for that. So yeah, you could.
Okay, there are many questions, or many other users are asking about analytics in the church app.
That's something too where, so the question was about analytics in the church app. So we're actually exploring something like that right now to open that up and allow you guys to have more visibility in terms of how your app is being used. Right now, there's not a direct format that we can pull the information into so everybody can see their own app and what the analytics are for that. But it's something that we're researching, and we're really hoping potentially even later this year, from what I was hearing. Can't offer a promise at this point because it's still in the research phase, but that's something we're definitely pursuing as a new feature down the road. And I mean, it sounds pretty confident that we'll be able to get something like that before too long, but we'll, I can't say too much at this point. We'll definitely let people know if and when a feature like that becomes available though.
A couple members are asking about multiple locations and how do you communicate that with your app?
So that I really like about the ability to add so the question was adding multiple locations. So I really like that, especially if you are a multi-campus church or anything like that, then having the ability to go in and add as many of the other sections as you want. You could add other location sections and label it, so you could say, this is our, such and such street campus. This is our other street campus, whatever. So people can actually go in and choose which location they want to look at. So yeah, I mean, that's a really neat feature I like, that you can do that now. So you can just add as many locations as you want, and it'll just display in your menu there in the app that they can choose from.
How soon will the new update take place?
So the new update, as I said, it's actually rolling out right now. And with the process of approval, getting all of our updates approved through Apple, we are expecting everything to be about 1 to 2 weeks is what we're right now at the rate that things are going to get everybody updated. So you'll probably, a lot of you will probably see your apps updated before then. But right now we're just kind of, we're turning everything over and we're just waiting for Apple and Google to get the submission process done. Once Apple says everything's okay, Google is like super quick after that. So I mean, you should see everything within the next week or two updated on your app. So the new version will be live.
Could you clarify there being a way to see your app without publishing it to go live?
So everything is, and just about everything, I should say, is previewable within the app, of course. Certain things like the Bible, since that's going to be the same on every app, but you'll have that'll be more of a user has customization control over how they want it to look. Everything else, you'll be able to preview as much as you can live. Unfortunately, there's just certain things you can't go fully as deep as possible into the app as when you actually have it installed and can see it on your device. So certain things you may not be able to preview right away. Of course, again, the nice thing about the sections is if anything ever does need to be changed, you can do so right away, and those changes take place immediately. If there's anything like a launch image that needs to be updated or an icon or something like that, that will require an update that we'll have to do for you. But anything else, you'll be good to go as far as being able to change that on the fly. So you can preview as much as you can see there in the App Studio. That's all we can offer to you without it being on the device itself. But then once it's live, if there needs to be any changes, you can do so very quickly.
Two more. Steven is asking if live streaming is available on the app.
So live streaming, that's a good question. And actually, that's one of the main reasons we introduced the link feature. So again, it comes back to you could have a live stream embedded on a page somewhere, or if your service is only linkable or however they work that way, then you can simply create a link to that stream so people can pull it up. So it'll pull it up in their browser. So of course, it's not technically in the app, but they're not going to really, they probably in most cases will not really know the difference when they're pulling the live stream through that way. And so that works just fine doing it that way. And it just gives them instant access to the area that you're trying to get them to go.
And the last question is, how many sections can you have in your app? Is it limited or?
To my knowledge, I mean, I have not heard of any limits on the sections. I wouldn't go crazy because you don't want to overload people when they go into your app. But I haven't heard a hard number as far as what that limit is going to be like. And a lot of things too will come down to what Apple will allow us to do. But really, as like I was saying before, with everything, I would just say the requirements are the same as they were. Adding sections should not be a problem. It should not cause any issues. I would not recommend deleting anything that you had before unless you replace it with a similar area. So if you're deleting, for example, a newsletter section, as long as you still have a blog or something with content on it, then keeping that on there so that there's real content. If you just try to create a bunch of link sections so everything goes to a web page, not only does that kind of lose the effectiveness and purpose of the app, but most likely Apple will look at that and just see a bunch of links and think this isn't this seems very shady, and they may not approve it. So just be careful about things like that. But otherwise, adding sections, the nice thing too is with the more option, you can kind of put, as far as I know, again, as many as you want underneath that. And if there's anything where we realize hey, there's a number where you should stop at specifically, we'll make sure we have documentation and all that for you guys that will be visible. So, but yeah, I haven't heard anything as far as what limitations there are as of yet. All right, so looks like I think we've got everybody's questions answered. If there's any that we missed, we'll definitely check those out and make sure we follow up with you guys. And if there's anything, as I said before, more specific, if you're having any questions about your app, or you're maybe looking about getting started and want to know where to go, definitely reach out to us at support.sharefaith.com. You can go in there and submit a ticket, and then our member coaches will get right back to you. Or if you have any further in-depth questions that you kind of need somebody to walk through with you, you can create an appointment with us and have somebody call you at a time that's convenient, and we will do our best to do so as quickly as possible. But as I said, we're usually very quick, within 24 hours or so. But yeah, I thank you guys again so much for coming. I hope this has been a great source of information for you guys. I hope you feel more confident in what a church app will do to really make things more effective for your ministry. I hope all of you guys who already have the church app, who get to see all these things in church app too, are as excited as I am about all these new features, because I am ready for this guy to roll out too for my church's app. And, so I'm looking forward to it. Again, if there's anything else that we can do for you guys, don't hesitate to let us know. I'm going to pray for everybody here real quick before we go, and then I'll say we can wrap things up. So, Father God, I thank you for this time. And I thank you for everyone here who is really just looking to make sure that they're using all of the resources they have at their disposal to sharing your gospel, to ministering to your people, and making sure that the word of God is spread. Lord, I pray that, if anything, that's what these resources help them accomplish, first and foremost. And I want it. And Lord, I just know that their time is valuable. I know what they're doing, their hearts. I'm, for you, Lord, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I pray that you would just bless them, bless their ministries. Lord, be with them as they're making these decisions and using their time wisely and going forward on what to do. So I just thank you, Lord, and we love you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So thanks again, guys. It's been awesome. I had a good one this one. I really love all the different things that we're showcasing here, and we really look forward to seeing you next time. So have a great day. God bless.